gentlemen, brothers, and sisters. This is Yasha Ben Israel for the Yasha Ben Israel Terry Whitfield podcast show. Name has changed to Yasha Ben Israel Israelite Thought Channel. Yes, yes, yes. And today we have Erik, mad scientist, with us in the building, and he has a new lesson that he like to bring forth, and it's called "Can Consciousness Exist Outside the Brain? Can it live outside the brain?" Erik, mad scientist, introduce yourself and take the mic from there, my brother. The show is yours.
All right, peace, peace, peace. This is Erik, the Mad Scientist, True Knowledge. You can catch me on Facebook, TikTok, Bang, Instagram, True Hot 30. Um, um, and I think that's it. I got Facebook, Erik, Mad Scientist, True, and my YouTube. And this is what I will be doing. Consciousness outside the brain. I'm going to be using people that study in neuroscience, neurology, philosophy, psychiatry, and near-death experience. So there's people that works on the brain in different ways and do different studies to see if there's any evidence that the consciousness can live outside of the brain. So, hope y'all enjoy. Let me know you want me to get ready. All right, let's start. Let me do one more share. Share to my scientist page. Y'all share these videos for me. Get y'all some page jumping, man. He got a lot of information. He got about 300 videos on here so far. So support this brother, um, and share this info. Not just this, everything he got. So, all right.
Yeah, that's over four. It's over 400 now. It's like 400 plus 410 or 20 or something.
Okay. All right, let's get started. Can a consciousness live outside the brain? All right. Go to my next one. All right. This is my flight I did. The Mad Science presents Can Your Consciousness Live Outside the Brain? I will present evidence from doctors who study in the field of neurology, neuroscience, philosophy, psychiatry, and NDE. Okay? You can also find these on my TikTok. So I put a lot of my flyers and stuff on my TikTok. Now, we break down the different things so you can understand what these people study and what they do in professionally. Psychology is the science study of the mind, behavior in humans and non-human. Psychology includes the study of conscious and unconscious phenomena, including feelings and thoughts. It is an academic discipline in immense scope, crossing the boundaries between the natural and social science. Okay? So I'm dealing with people again that deals with the consciousness. Psychiatry. Psychiatry is the medical specialty devoted to the diagnosis, um, prevention, and treatment of deleterious mental conditions. Conditions. These include various matters related to mood, behavior, cognition, and cognition and perception. Initial psychiatric assessment of a person begins with a case history and medical status examination. Okay, this studies behaviors. The other one studies the consciousness. So that's why a lot of people get psychology psychiatry and psychology mixed up. All right, neurology. So I showed you when we studied behavior, what the brain does to the behavior of the body. I'm showing you that the people that get the info on this stuff is studying the consciousness of the brain. Now we're going to neurology. Neurology is the branch of medicine concerned with the study and treatment of disorders of the nervous system. The nervous system is a complex, sophisticated system that regulates the coordinates body activities. It has two major decisions: central nervous system and brain and spinal cord. So this is when I used to talk about the electric messages that come from the brain down. So this is the medicine that for disorders that stop that. Like me, I would have. They say I have electrical problems, where sometimes my brain, like when you sleep in apnea, like sometimes your brain forget to send a message down to tell you to breathe, tell your heart to pump right. So a lot of that stuff comes from the electrical parts that go down the nervous system. All right. So I got a person that can study the consciousness. So these people study the consciousness, the unconsciousness, the behavior from the brain, neurology, the nervous system, okay, and neuroscience. Neuroscience, also known as neuroscience, neuroscience is a study of how the nervous system develops, its structure, and what it does. Neuroscience is focused on the brain and impacts of behavior and cognitive functions. Okay, so this also is talking about the nervous system, the messages that go down to the nervous, and for you to be able to. That's why I tell people they call it subconscious movement. Meaning you can subconsciously think about your fingers moving, but the whole time your brain is sending a message to your nervous system to your finger and making it move within us. Well, I don't even know how long, but within before a second, faster than a second. You know what I'm saying? So these are people that study that, and then they study in NDE and experience instances of which have been widely reported in which a person near death is apparently outside of his or her body, and aware of it, and the attended circumstances as separate from him. So they also study, like I said, on my other joint that I did on the last, when I did the near death experience, showing that they do studies. So this person do 1,500, 2,000 people who had near death, what's it called, clinically death when the heart stops, and shows what they have seen and what happened to them when they died. And then they have some studies of when the brain dies too, that is showing that it's consciousness part of that. So this is the second part I'm going out of that. All right, this is Dr. Bruce Grayson. Charles Bruce Grayson is a professor of psychiatry, neurobehavioral science at the University of Virginia. He is an author of After a Doctor Explores What Near-Death Experience Reveal About Life and Beyond, co-author of Irreducible Mind and co-editor of the Handbook of Near-Death Experience. Okay, so this is the leading. He's the leading study. He do the leading study in near-death experience. You kind of seen him with my other one, the near-death experience presentation I did. So he's the one that been doing this for the longest, and he's like the second generation. And again, he has studies and studies of thousands of people that he has studied that have died and had clinical death and experience and what they experienced. So we're gonna break down some of his info for right now for a little bit. All right. Elaborate psychedelic drug experiences are associated with diseases and brain activity. Some people in advanced stages of dementia who have lost consciousness paradoxically become lucid again when the brain deteriorates sufficiently just before death. Most NDEs include enhanced consciousness with the brain is seriously impaired. The question is whether the physical brain activity can create consciousness, and no one has ever shown any mechanism by which a chemical or electrical event can create a thought. The evidence suggests rather that the consciousness can be function independent of the brain activity, and that the brain serves to filter or interpret the thoughts of the benefit of the physical body. But if the consciousness can function without the brain activity, then it is potentially could continue after the brain dies. So they are saying, when a lot of these people saying, oh, the neurology, when the brain is the electrics in the brain, and that's how you get the lucid dreams. And it's because when you die, you still alive for five. Your brain's still alive for 5-10 minutes after, and that's how people still see stuff and all this stuff. So they're saying that them electric, the electric that's in the mind and the brain that causes the lucidness images and brain and dreams does not create the consciousness. So they're saying the consciousness is an independent entity outside of the brain, and the brain does not create the consciousness. Okay, what happens to consciousness after death? As far as we know at this point, it's true that all brain functions are electrical and chemical and are potentially measurable, although that may be impractical in some circumstances. And it's true that electrical and chemical activities in the brain ceases very quickly after bodily death. But that doesn't say anything about the relationship between brain activity and consciousness. There is evidence that the consciousness is associated with the brain activity in normal circumstances. When our brains are injured and affected by drugs, our consciousness suffers. But there's a lot of evidence that consciousness is not associated with the brain activity in extreme circumstances. So this is the thing that they're doing. They're saying it's a time when the consciousness doesn't supposed to be, and it does. And then it shows that the consciousness is connected to the mind and the brain also too. So that's why I tell people it's the subconscious, the conscious, the mind, the brain. The brain controls the body. And that's why I've been trying to tell people that from my studies and research, that it goes. All right, Dr. Grayson in India. Okay, these kind of small, but I'm gonna try to read. December, Dr. Grayson unveiled in Chamela, India, to present the conference Cosmology and Consciousness Dialogue between Buddhist scholars and scientists in the mind and matter. The Cosmology and Conscious Conference themes were the follows: the nature of the mind and consciousness had to concept from the cognitive cognitive sciences. My bad, I got a country accent. So
Is that cognitive?
Yeah, cognitive science and neurobiology interface in the concepts of the Buddhism and other counter. I can't see this word. Contemplative, contemplative traditions, without the relationships among man, consciousness, and brain, without the various perspectives of the survival of conscious after death, life and the consciousness in the universe, astrobiology, Buddhist perceptives, and life and the man in the universe, under what conditions and where might life flourish, limits of knowledge and knowing, without the possible limits of the theories of the very large and very small, but really exist beyond the scope of the five senses. Both Buddhist and scientist traditions have rich perspectives, serving mankind. How can Buddhism and science best serve humanity, providing both knowledge and happiness? The role of ethics in Buddhism and science will be explored.
I look over here and these words are so small.
I know. Woo.
Yeah, I have
Man,
the
I'm
screen
surprised I
blown
can
up.
read them.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, man, how can you make out any of this stuff?
Yeah, this one kind of bigger, so I can read this. This Dr. Grayson visited Dalai Lama. I mean, I know about the stuff. I know the thing Dalai Lama did. I don't agree with the shit he did, but this is before that. So during his visit, Dr. Grayson presented the Dalai Lama with a copy of his latest book, The Handbook Near Death Experience. The Tibetan Library of Works and Archives will be translating the book into Tibetan for use of the monastic curriculum. One of the central topics of the conference was the relationship between the mind, consciousness, and brain. The keynote speakers of the topic were Dr. Grayson and Lobsang Tenzin Neji. I'm gonna have him too. PhD, co-director of Emory University, collaborative for the contemplative studies, Dr. Grayson. Keynote addresses describe some of the research of the Division of Perceptual Studies over the past 40 years, including studies of near-death experience, as well as the research into cases. A children who claim to remember previous lives. That's the I did a thing on reincarnation too. Y'all can check that on that. Then might do a part two to that. The attendees were appreciative of the increased understanding of those topics afforded by the use of scientific investigations. Okay, neuroscience.com. Consciousness cannot simply be reduced to neural activity alone, researchers say. A novel study reports that dynamics of consciousness may be understood by a newly developed conceptual and mathematical framework. Okay, this is neuroscience.com. This is Dr. Nur Lahav. My field of study is This is him talking. My field of study is neuroscience and the consciousness studies. I use network theory, non-linear linear dynamics and chaos and develop a model for chaotic neural networks. Recently, I developed a new physical theory to answer the hard problem of consciousness, the relativistic relativistic theory of consciousness. Since I remember myself, I have always loved science, philosophy, and art. So when they talk about models, this is what he does. They do studies and they do models, and they research it off of knowing through neurology how the brain works through the through electricity and all that going down to the body, all that they mind, the consciousness, the electricity in the body, the neuroscience, all that together, making a model of it, and trying to prove that how the consciousness is not just created from the brain. This is what they trying to find out because this is not no. So I be hearing these people try to say there's no the consciousness in the man. Like they have a proof of they have just like this is just a fact. No, this is a major study that they haven't even that they just now breaking through on. This is not something they just know. Oh, the consciousness comes from the brain. That is not 100% fact. Okay. Um, all right. Zachariah Anema, PhD. This is him talking. I recently completed my PhD in philosophy at the University of Memphis under the direction of Dr. Sean Gallagher. I currently teach remotely for Stanford University and the University of Arizona Global Campus. I am a member of the cognitive what's the word again? It's hard for me to pronounce it.
Cognitive.
Cognitive.
Like cognitive dissonance,
Yeah,
cognitive.
it's just hard for me to say the word because I'm so damn country. All right, Cognitive Community Research Group, developing the Linda Cognitive Agriculture.
Architecture.
Architecture in 2019. I was a fellow of Kavli Institute of Cognitive Neuroscience. My research lies in the intersection between the philosophy of the mind, cognitive science, and the contextual phenomenology. This is the stuff he studied in and got his PhD in and went to college for study. So I'm just showing their their work that they do. So you just know that they're not people just saying it. In contrast to being under anesthesia or in a dreamless deep sleep, while we're awake, we don't live in the dark. We experience the world and ourselves. But how the brain creates a conscious experience and what area of the brain is responsible for the remains of mystery. According to Dr. Nur Lahav, a psych, what that do there? It's like philosophists of Bar and University in Israel. This is the quite mystery, since it seems that our consciousness experience cannot arise from the brain and in fact cannot arise from the physical process. As strange as it sounds, the conscious experience in our brain cannot be found or reduced to some neuroactivity. So again, they're trying to say that the neural that they studying, the electric components in the brain, does not create the consciousness. And they're going to explain what. Think about it this way, says Dr. Zachariah Nemer, a philosopher from the University of Memphis. When I feel happiness, my brain will create a distinctive pattern of complex neural activity. The neural pattern will perfectly correlate with the consciousness feeling of the happiness, but it is not my actual feeling. It is just a neural pattern that represents my happiness. That's why scientists looking at my brain and seeing the pattern should ask me what I feel, because the pattern is not the feeling itself, just a representation of it. Woo!
Wasn't we talking about something like that
Yeah,
earlier?
yeah, yeah. That's why the last two things I put in, I'm gonna put that in because we were talking about how you talking. Yeah, but that's what it's saying. It's saying it's just a representation of that show through the physical. That actually is not created just from just the physical part. It's actually created from the consciousness, but the physical represents it and shows it in the outward form into the physical. As a result, we can't reduce the conscious experience of what we sense, feel, or think to any brain activity. We can just find correlations to these experiences. After more than 100 years of neuroscience, we have very good evidence that the brain is responsible for the creation of our conscious abilities. So, how can it be that these conscious experiences can't be found anywhere in the brain or in the body and can't be reduced to any neural complex activity? The mystery is known as the hard problem of consciousness. It is such a difficult problem that until a couple of decades ago, only philosophers discussed it. And even today, although we have made huge progress in our understanding of the neuroscientific basis of consciousness, still is no adequate theory that explains what consciousness is and how to solve this hard problem. So when people are acting like they know, they don't. Even the scientists that it goes inside the brain and studying the brain doesn't 100% know yet, and they saying they still going through a breakthrough. So stop listening to these people that don't even study this hard as these people are and have the studies. All right. According to the authors, when we change our assumption about consciousness and assume that it is a relativistic phenomenon, the mystery of the consciousness naturally dissolves. In a paper of research developing a conceptual and mathematical framework to understand consciousness from a real relativistic point of view. According to Dr. Lahav, the lead author of the paper, consciousness should be investigated with the same mathematical tools that psychiatrists use for um, other known relativistic phenomena. Now, the authors want to continue to examine the exact minimum measures that any cognitive system needs in order to create consciousness. The implications such as theory are huge. It can be applied to determine which animal was the first animal in the evolutionary process to have consciousness. When a fetus or a baby begins to be conscious, which patients with consciousness disorders are conscious, and which our systems already today have a low degree, if any, of consciousness. And that, I said that before when I was arguing with an atheist, and he was trying to say, when they try to say why prove that God exists, and I said the subconscious, the conscious and the subconscious. How come they can't create now this the consciousness that they are talking about they can create because that consciousness is connected to the brain, which is actually connected to the feelings and can connect it to understanding. So an AI, when they created AI, that AI can adapt. Meaning it can't feel love, it doesn't feel hurt, it doesn't feel pain, but it can adapt to a human enough so it understands this is when I'm supposed to hurt, this is when I'm supposed to love, this is when I'm supposed to have fear. So it can create an artificial consciousness off that. But the subconscious it can't, and that's why I always tell people the subconscious is where the soul lies. And that's why they could never create that because the subconscious is 10 times, 100 times stronger and more mistress than the consciousness. Okay. Psychiatry, Ross College. Dr. Tanzi, Rudolph Rudy Tanzi is the Joseph P. and Rose F. Kennedy Professor of Neurology at Harvard University, Vice Chair of Neurology, Director of Genetics and Aging Research Unit, and Co-Director of the Henry and Allison McCants Center for Brain Health and Massachusetts General Hospital. Okay. The above title appeared as an eye-catching headline in March 2012 over an article in Huffington Post, an online newspaper. It was called co-authored by Deepak Chopra, MD, and Dr. Rudolph Tanzi, professor of neurology of Harvard Medical School, acknowledging that we live in the golden age of the brain research that is brilliantly mapping and decoding neural circuitry. They nevertheless question the overreach, which they say has led 99% of the neuroscientists to assume that we are our brains. In this scheme, the brain is in charge, having evolved to control certain fixed behaviors. We are flooded with articles and books reinforcing the same assumption. The brain is using you, not the other way around, but authors are renowned for their campaigning of the opposing view that the mind itself shapes materially reality, including the brain, that we do not have to submit to neural patterns linked with conditions such as depression, addictions, and phobias. It's very good news that you are not your brain, Kapacha and Tanzi write, because when your mind finds its true power, the results is healing, inspiration, insight, self-awareness, discovery, curiosity, and quantum leaps in a personal growth. The real glory of human existence is the mind, not the brain that serves it. Woo! Okay. I like that. All right.
We need to get some bombs over here.
Yeah. Consciousness realism. Consciousness realism all projects our mind. Dependent perception is not objective reporting, but active construction. The physical world of space-time, objects, matter, and so on is friendly user interface between a particular observer and deeper reality. The theory offers a possible solution to why the mind-body problem has been such a persistent puzzle. We may have confused because of our consciousness. With with effect, our relationship with the material icons surrounding us, including the body, it is as though we have been playing a giant game of virtual tennis, for example, and forget that neither of the players nor the ball are literal presentations of reality, but an interface with the computer that holds the rules of the game. Okay. Similarly, brains do not cause consciousness. Consciousness creates brains as dramatically simplified icons for a realm far more complex. Woo! A realm of interacting conscious agents. This is a very counterintuitive idea, given the human brains are considered to be the most complex objects in the universe. But information technology has been showing us how to store more and more information on less and less material terms. Perhaps it is not unimaginable that the complete absence of matter in a realm mind alone, or of uh, substrate, uh, substrate much more subtle than the material realm. Vastly more information might be available. Theory holds that the treating objects as if they are permanent, a convention skull that only develops in children at about 9 months of age, is illusory. Something continues to exist when the child stops observing, but that time is not a physical object that the child sees when it observes. That something is instead of complex dynamical system of conscious agents that triggers the child to create physical object icons when a child interacts with that system. The theory does not claim that everything we see is unreal, but says instead that all sensory perceptions are real in the sense that headaches are real, they exist, and are observers dependent, they exist so long as they are experienced. Oh, did you hear that? So it's saying headaches is something that you think it don't exist. It's not a physical thing, but when you experience it, it's real. I mean, that's as simple as you can get.
Yeah.
Doctor who loses brain functions their self. All right. His best-selling book, Proof of Heaven. I got that book too. I got to read it. Dr. Eben Alexander, an eminent neurosurgeon, describes his recollections of a week-long coma caused by a rare form of bacterial uh, meningitis. I was I was encountering the reality of a world consciousness that existed completely free of the limitations of my physical brain, he says. My experience showed me that the depth of my body and the brain are not the end of consciousness. He felt desperate to communicate. He had learned uh, as soon he recovered his everyday faculties. Love and compassion, he writes, are far more than the abstractions many of us believe them to be. They are real, they are concrete, and they make up the very fabric of the spiritual realm. And this is a neurosurgeon who's telling you the consciousness is outside of the brain. Don't listen to these niggas. They ain't got no PhDs. These niggas be all on these platforms talking about these scientists and telling you this is not real. It ain't no studies in it. Ain't nobody that's saying this. They're lying to you. All right. Doctors who lose brain functions, their cells, part two. Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor, a brain scientist who suffered a hemorrhage in her left hemisphere, also on recovery, felt a passion to communicate and expand consciousness and connectedness. She felt she lost her normal faculties. She describes the experience in her 2008 book, My Stroke of Insight, and in a dramatic TED talk, I guess I mean, in which she recalls feeling, I am the life force. Power of the universe. I am the life force, power of the 50 trillion beautiful molecular genuses that make up my form at one with all that is. Okay. Another person this is a person who had an out of body experience. Anita Moore Janney has related in Dying to Be Me and also a TED Talk. She went into a state of super awareness during the coma brought by an end stage um, euphemia. It felt as though I had 360-degree peripheral vision. It was as if I had a span beyond my body. She says I was aware of my physical body. I could see it lying there on a hospital bed. But as I but I was no longer attached to the body. It felt as though I could be everywhere at the same time. Wherever I put my awareness, there I was. Okay, and this is showing that when I tell you when we leave our body, we are the consciousness. You know, we have a consciousness body. So I mean, our consciousness. If we looking from the consciousness mind, we're not looking from the body no more. So when people say they can look around 360 because they're not looking through the physical eyes that only look straight, only can turn left or right. They don't have this skull, they don't have this head, so when they have to just look that way, they can actually look around 360 and see everything because they don't have a physical thing that's blocking the vision. Meaning your soul is in your eyes and where you what you really are, right? Chemical composition. Now, I wanted to show this because the near-death experience that I was talking about, when people say they died, they didn't have fear. They didn't have none of this stuff. So I'm showing a lot of this stuff is a physical thing. It's not a thing when you leave the body. That's when you leave the body, they say they don't feel nothing. And that's why the only time you fear and scared is when you're inside the body because it's components, it's things that make your body do this. It's the beating of the heart. It's certain things that does to your body that makes you have this feeling. All right. Love, a chemical composition. Lust is a part of love from released chemicals. Seductive or a person with game knows how to release the chemical or when the chemical is at the highest level of the benefit to benefit them. Love is an action made up of three things: lust, attachment, and attraction, which comes from the chemical compositions of oxytocin. All right, so what this is saying, when they're talking about people who have the game, who know how to go to a woman and really seduce her, or a woman that knows how to seduce a man, they actually know about these chemical components, but they don't do it in a scientific way. But like let's say the book of the 50 Laws of Power. The 50 Laws of Power is show you how to seduce people. It show you how to trick people. It show you how to use your seductive ways and use things into every human is going to fall for.
Are you talking about the 48 laws of
Yeah,
power?
the 48, my bad, because 50 Laws of Power is 50 Cent, but the 48 Laws of Power. All right. Three things: lust, attachment, and attraction, which comes from the three chemical compositions: oxytocin, dopamine, estrogen, uh, testosterone, norepinephrine, and serotonin. Lust is need. Lust is a need to reduce. Lust is hold on. Lust is a need to reduce. Lust is driven by the desire for sexual gratification. The evolutionary basis for this stems from our need to reproduce. Attraction, not always sexual attraction, seems to be a distant, though closely related phenomenon, but we can certainly lust for someone we are attracted to, and vice versa. One can happen without the other. Attachment increases trust among adults lacking secure attachment. Oxy, um, Oxytocin reduces fear and betrayal, aversion, and faculties that development of trust and constructive social exchange. So they saying we could be attracted to somebody but not be attached to them. We could be attached to somebody but not be attracted to them. Meaning you can have sex with somebody you're not even attracted to. We can
I
be.
mean, hell, I did that 1,000 times.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But what I did learn too, if you have too much of these chemicals, it becomes obsession. See,
You mean like you
so
can have sex with somebody and not be attracted to him?
yeah,
Yeah,
you
a man
guys,
can do, a man can do that easily.
yeah, and that be attached and attracted or attached to them. But the thing is, when these chemicals become too much, it become a possession. So now you're obsessed with this person. Obsession becomes a chemical or overdose of chemical composition. It's an overdose of it. It's too much of it. You see what I'm saying? Figure 1A, the testes and ovaries secret secrete the sex hormones, testosterone and estrogen, driving sexual desire. B and C, dopamine, oxytocin, and vasopressin are all made to the uh, hypothalamus, a region of the brain that controls many vital functions, as well as emotion. Several of these regions of the brain that can affect love, lust, and attraction shut off the frontal prefrontal cortex of the brain, which includes rational behavior. Okay. Chemical composition of fear. Fear is not a spiritual, it is a human reaction. It studies people who are, it studies people who were classified to be clinically dead said they didn't fear or any emotion because emotion is an action of the flesh and not of the soul. That's I guess me that wrote that. All right. Chemical composition of fear is the ability to recognize danger, leading to an urge to confront it and flee from it. Fear can also be a distinctive, instant reaction to something uh, presently happening. Fear is a chain reaction in the brain that starts with the stressful stimulus and ends with the release of chemicals that cause a racing heart, fast breathing, and energizing muscles. Among other things, also known as the fight or flight response. There are certain areas of the brain, at least, involved in fear: cortex, hippocampus, amygdala, hypothalamus, amygdala. The amygdala is the area of the brain with the almond shape and receives a large amount of information in our environment. For example, smell, sight, sound, and the signals from the amygdala um, reach the hypothalamus, the area where core corticotropic releasing hormone, which is in turn responsible for the release of cortisol, stress hormone. So it's called the flight or the fight. And that's why people have fear. Some people can fight the fear. Some people can still fight off the fear, fight while they're in fear. And some people will run while they're in fear. And that right there should tell you that that does not control your consciousness. It's not based off your consciousness because your consciousness can actually fight that chemical composition that is attacking your body. All right. The amygdala signals other regions of the brain, kicking off the responses we know as fear. A region of the midbrain triggers jumping of the freezing of the response to fear. So this part where the brain's at attack. Okay, how much minutes did I just went through? Gosh,
Huh?
how much minutes I went through already?
You say what?
How much minutes was that?
How much monies?
Minutes.
Uh, 42 minutes
All
and
right,
43 seconds.
all right. I'm gonna share one more thing with y'all. I'm gonna share a little bit of this. I at least want to go an hour before we
And
stop.
go on and rock it out. Rock it out. Do your thing, brother. You letting your information flow.
Okay, I mean, well, I just wonder how do you ain't got to go into a deep, but how do you think about that part right there we already did?
There's a lot of things on there you said that was cool. I
Yeah.
just don't. I don't know anything about it. It's just new information to me. You know
Okay.
what I'm
Okay.
saying? And being that it's new information to me, I'm not a closed-minded person. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So I just, hey man, hey, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm proud,
I mean, but did it give you more of an understanding how why y'all was saying that why people that how people said that the consciousness is outside could be outside the brain? I mean, did you get a little bit of that?
I mean, I don't understand it like that. You know what I'm
Okay, I
saying?
mean, that's fine. Let me see. Consciousness, angel. I'm trying to get to. All right, here we go. Here we go, a little bit of deal right here.
Did you go back? Let's go and finish it out, and then go back to those points at the end. Then that way I can ask questions and
Okay.
stuff like that without interrupting the whole presentation.
Yeah. Oh, I finished the presentation, but I'm gonna go to this one a little bit.
Okay, cool,
Just
cool.
just
Let's
to
just go
add
right
on
there.
to it. Just to add on to it. It's like 12 slides. Was the one I did. It's called the soul conscious connected to the subconscious. So, like I said, I believe that the soul is connected to the subconscious where you meet the Most High Yah at. And this is where you communicate at. This is when you have that instinct of when something happens to tell you. This is where he creates, where you have dreams of warnings. When people say they have visions, all this stuff because it's connected to that. And I'm sure you have more of the power. The consciousness, the subconscious is more powerful than the consciousness. So let's get to it. Subconscious and the soul. The subconscious is where the creator lies within you. It's beginning of you and the subconscious part of the mind, not the technical use of um, psychoanalysts, where unconscious is referred. Unconscious is mind, imagination, inner self, innermost self, self, inner man, woman, psyche, ego, superego, ID, true being, ancestral nature, the creative powers of the subconscious. Interesting fact about the subconscious mind: it records everything, always alerts and awake. It controls 95% of our lives. It is built on habituation. 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 It speaks to you in dreams. It has no verbal language. It takes everything literally. It can do trillion things at once. It's not logical. It's a feeling mind. It is 1 million times powerful than the conscious mind. Okay.
It's kind of like God is conscious. It's like almost like the explanation of God.
Yes. Yeah. Whoa. That's deep.
Uh,
Yeah, that's deep. Yeah. Yeah. That was that. Let's see. Subconscious mind. Now look at this. Conscious mind 0.5 to 5%. The subconscious mind is 95 to 99.5%. Controls all the systems in the body. Intelligent field that created the body from a single fertilized cell. Literal and metaphoric, not linear. No distinction between past, present, and future. Movie, reality, perception, generalizes. Okay. The subconscious and the soul. I believe the conscious is in the man's semen. When the woman egg and the man's semen fuses and creates the embryo, which is also when the subconscious soul comes in. But I also believe that the woman's womb is in the gateway of life because when you leave the womb and breathe the Yah's breath of life, oxygen, you become a alive, living being. And this is what some things are chemical. That's why they celebrate the womb so much because, and this is what they try to say, oh, it's not a being until it comes out because when the baby is inside the mother, the baby is depending on the mother's placenta. So the baby is breathing on the mother placenta. That's why a mother can hide a baby in water and the baby still can breathe because it's like a swimming suit. I mean, what you call a diving suit? How they have a diving suit with the tube and they still have the oxygen in it. Once that umbilical cord gets cut, the baby lungs are flat. Once it breathes and the doctor smacks and makes it breathe, that's why it doesn't breathe when the umbilical cord is cut. Once it breathes that first oxygen, the lungs inflate. Okay, and that
wow.
placenta they have is a powerful thing, and that's why in the South, like in the deep South, they actually eat the placenta. And they actually believe you're supposed to keep the baby on that umbilical cord longer than they actually do because it's more nutrient. It makes it more stronger and more nutrients in it by the time you cut the umbilical cord, right? All right. This says the indigenous world traditions understand that the woman was the gateway between the worlds, regardless of what you believe or how you pray. She is still the only way to cross into this reality. Within her, we can find the mysteries of the world and the power to create life upon it. Okay. Subconscious and soul. The soul communicates with the conscious mind through the subconscious. We look at this diagram. We see barrier which is there between the conscious and subconscious mind. The barrier has some specific qualities, special qualities. It doesn't allow the conscious mind to know what secrets are locked in the subconscious mind. This self is also porous. Porous. but it only allows one thought to emerge at a time from the subconscious mind. The thought that emerges in the strongest thought. So impressions from the subconscious mind rapidly hit the conscious mind in quick succession and return to strength in the center that they also from. Now, I want people to read this. And this is when they talk about God. How chanting the name of God works, deflection method. The conscious mind 10%, subconscious mind 90%, impressions of the mind, devotion center, a center of divine, through through persistent spiritual practice of chanting the name of God, the devotion center becomes firmly established. The firmly established devotion center becomes the strongest through prompting one to do only righteous deeds. Thoughts from the impression of our mind are not allowed to go through the conscious mind and hence reduce the influence over us. So when we talk about God, well, the more we become spiritual, it attacks a part of the brain, the central brain, that actually make us want to do right, and that's why they. And that's why neurology people who study the brain say if you attack a part of the brain, you actually can take God out of it. And that's what they be. That's why they study on it. Y'all gotta be careful with it. All right. I am Sanjeev Sharma from Delhi, India, and I think vitally of consciousness, cognizance is the base of the soul or the spirit, or then other. Soul likewise incorporates brain, mind, and the body. However, the sperm cells have a body and are motile and cognizant, yet they don't have a astuteness and a psyche. So it is smarter to accept sperm cells have soul. Okay, this is what I don't agree with. This is what some things teach. I don't agree with the body and soul decrease the soul and all. I mean, the body and the soul creates the soul and all dance together, but the spirit, soul, and body are all separate and all dance concept of the soul. So I ain't able to read that part there because this thing real small. But this is how they teach that. So I believe the body, the spirit, the soul are different things. We already know the spirit is the breath, the body is the flesh, but I believe the soul is the subconscious. You know, even though the Bible says the soul is the body, and the mind and the spirit together. So I'm just letting that be known. All right, but I do agree on. Do humans have souls? Well, if you believe that there are immortal part of a human being, that you have to believe that there is a non-physical entity that lives on after the mortal physical body is dead, and that is the soul. I mean, the immortal part. Okay, the soul body, light, physical body, the astral, the perceptual, the emotional, and the mental. So all the people that talk about astral projecting can never say that they don't believe in the soul or believe in God or believe in something after this because they believe you literally can leave your body. Okay, so don't never let none of them people that even talk about that act like it ain't. All right. Our artificial consciousness and why they can't create consciousness. Consciousness is one of the unique features of the creatures and is also the root of biological intelligence upon now. All machines and robots haven't had consciousness. Then will artificial intelligence be conscious? Will robots have real intelligence without consciousness? The most primitive consciousness is in the perception and expression of self existence. In order to perceive the existence of the concept of a creature must first have a perceivable boundary, such as skin, to separate from a non from.
See that they get to talk about consciousness and existence. That's
Yeah,
like getting off into the definition of Yahweh.
yeah,
The Hebrew name of God.
as skin to separate from the non for robots have to self have to For robots to have the self-awareness, they also need to be wrapped by a similar sensory membrane. Nowadays, as intelligent tools, our system should also be regarded as the external extension of human intelligence. These tools are unconscious. The development of owl shows that intelligence can exist without consciousness. When human beings enter into an era of life intelligence from owl, it is not the owl become consciousness, but the consciousness lives where lives will have strong owl. Therefore, it becomes more necessary to be careful on applying owl to living creatures, even to those lower level animals of only consciousness. The subversal revolution of such application may produce more careful thinking. So they saying you go to build intelligence without the consciousness, and you cannot compare this even to the lowest animal consciousness. So you can never compare it to a human consciousness subconscious. And they could never create it. They only can make an artificial version of it. They can try to copy this. All right. King James and Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I've seen God face to face and my life is preserved. I forgot why I put that. So I'm not even I don't even know why I put that for. Um, I think I put that because I was showing that it was a place that's called the place of God. I mean, y'all should might know more about that. You know anything about this verse right here?
Where's that in the Bible?
Yeah, Jacob called the name of a place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved.
Yeah, I've read it before. I've heard people talk on it, but that's something a little outside of my.
Yeah, when I looked it up, it just said it was a place. It was a place that was called the place of God. So it wasn't really talking about him saying God face to face. So that's what I looked up. But don't take me for that.
Well, pina is a word for face. Like before me,
Okay.
like in front of me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay. And this is a verse I did use too. Neither shall they say. This is what Jesus said. Neither thou shalt say, lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. I'm just saying that he's talking about inside of you. The consciousness, the self, the subconscious, the where God lies is inside of you. You don't have to look in the sky. You don't have to look in the ground. You don't have to look around, for the kingdom is inside you. This is from the Gospel of Thomas. I don't want to get out. I just trying to show that. All right. To put it all together, the subconscious works with the soul to control the mind, which controls the brain, which controls the body. I know I spelled that wrong. Basically, we are soul being inside flesh, being tested by the Most High. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just showing the subconscious, the conscious, how the minds work, how the mind work with the brain, how the brain work with the electricity that sends the message down into the body. And that's why they call it subconscious thinking, because we don't have to think it, but our mind still send messages. So how do your brain send messages when you don't even have to think? You can bend your leg and don't say bend your leg, but your mind, your brain is actually sending a message down to your nervous system, to your leg, and telling it to bend, because your consciousness, the subconscious, tells you to do it. So I'm finished with that. You know,
Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Eric done fell out of the show. Eric, you got to come back in. You done fell. What happened? You done fell out of the
yeah,
show.
now I keep exiting the thing. But yeah, so y'all hear these people, I don't want to name people, but and stuff like that. But when y'all hear these people telling you that there's no proof of the subconscious or living outside of this or stuff like that. What's up, April Peace, JJ? Anybody that's listening. Any questions? Or I can put in a comment, or you can jump on consciousness does not live inside the brain. Okay, it doesn't live inside the brain. All right. Well, you're right, because I did prove that consciousness is not inside the brain. The brain does not make the consciousness. The conscious is separate from the brain. So you're all right about that. And the next presentation we're going to do, I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow, the day after that. I'm going to do why Esau Jacob went into the other realm. Okay. If you got some information, April, holler at Yasha, and you can do a information on that. As your subconscious self, when Jesus died and they received the spirit, they received the subconscious self. I mean, okay. I see where you're going with that. Um, Testing. Yeah, I see what you're going with that. I think you should come on here and do something with Yasha one day. Let them know let them know what. Okay, I will, bro. Yeah, there you go. So you just hit up Yasha. Yasha got you. Yeah, he'll let you come up here and spit some stuff. But my next presentation I want to do is Esau is not the white man, or could not be the white man, and I'm just going to do it through science. I'm going to use genetics. I'm going to use how it's impossible for that to happen, and the only way something like that can happen if you're using it in a religious term, and as far as you're just making it up and not
Do
using
you think? Do you
real
think you know
science.
what day you like to do it?
I'm ready whenever I'm ready to do it. We
Yeah,
can do it
set a
tomorrow
date and
night
a
or
time.
Tuesday because I'm off the next
Set,
2 days. So.
yeah, set a date and a time, maybe so the people can meet you back over here.
Okay, yeah, because I'm still working on it, so I'm gonna say probably like Tuesday. I'm gonna say probably Tuesday because I want to make sure I get that right.
Tuesday evening, maybe
Yeah,
about 7ish.
yeah, we can do that. Um, yeah, because I want to build with you too, April, one day. Because I like the way you think. We go at it a lot. I don't never. I'm a person, man. We go at it back and forth, but don't think I will never respect a person's intellect and the
Yeah,
person.
I like to go at it with the Israelites. I don't like to go at it with anybody else.
Yeah,
I like to go at it with the Israelites because it's iron sharpens iron. You
yeah,
understand what I'm saying? I have something to gain out of debating with Israelites. I don't have nothing to gain out of debating with anyone else.
yeah. So I like building. I like building with April. Man, April always be talking about stuff. So I just don't want you to think I never hate you or I don't like what you be saying. I like spar. I like spar. I like intellectual spar, and you never been disrespectful to me. And you know, anytime, like I said, you want to get on here, be able to talk, or get on here, talk to Yasha. He'll get you on here. Peace to JJ for coming on here. Telling people to like Yasha platform. We could try to we could get this shit rolling, man. You know what I'm saying? True. DOA. We need to build. You need to get on here one day. I would like to exchange knowledge with you, Eric. You study a lot, and I would like to pick your brain. That's fine. We can do that. We can do that. I just wanted to do this because I seen on the show they were trying to get on. They started out humble and respectful, Eric. I would not want it anywhere. Yes, of course. Hey, I've been listening to you for a long time. I don't know if you ever did that debate yet. Did you ever debate yet? But the reason I spoke on this because I was hearing some dude name. What that dude name? The African dude that always be with Shaka. I can't remember his name.
It was a Sekou.
Yeah, say cool. I just heard him and it was debating against Nepal about the consciousness and saying, "Oh, there's no studies, there's no research, there's nothing that says the consciousness can survive outside the brain and all this stuff." So I just said, "Man, I don't believe it because I've been studying this stuff and I have people in leading fields that study this stuff." And I just showed neurologists, I showed neuroscience, I showed people studying neurosurgeons, philosophers, psychiatrists, psychologists, people who studied NDE. So these people study all these things and coming to the conclusions. So for them to say is no people or no science teaching this, they are not telling the truth on that. Yeah, it's a cool. That's the name. It's a cool. Anything else you want to speak on?
Yeah. Uh,
Because
And
I know you got some things I know you got some things you want to bring up too. Some conversation you want to bring up because I know you got a problem with the Lex Vortex, so you got something you got to say about that too. Just going.
you say about electricity.
No, Lex Vortex.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't want to get off into that
No, no, no.
tonight.
I'm just telling, let the people know that you got
Yeah, but Lex
something coming up.
Vortex put out some information yesterday where he stated that no Israel, the only two Israelites that were capable of dealing with the information that he brought, the misinformation that he brought forth on Sarnetta show the other day was Zion Lex and Divine Prospect. These guys are respectable men, right? But he does himself a great disservice by saying silly things like that, and I'm just going to prove him wrong. You know what I'm saying? I am the Israelite that is the one that is capable of correcting his misinformation on that.
Yeah,
Your boy he really needs a history class, man. You know what I'm saying? For real.
yeah,
The misinformation that comes up out of those people mouth over there is just it's saddening, man. You know what I'm saying? And they arrogant about it. They arrogant about being ignorant. You know what I'm saying? And wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that's the
exactly.
crazy part about it. You know. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna come over here and probably address that one of these days this week coming up, maybe between tomorrow and Wednesday for sure.
okay,
Today's Sunday, yeah, between tomorrow and Wednesday for sure. And I
okay,
got
okay.
another one I want to do. I want to do a show about respect. Respecting the elders.
Yeah,
And what it means to be an elder. You know, uh, you know, that type of thing. There's a lot of disrespect and a lot of man worship going on inside of the house of Israel. There's absolutely no respect for no one in the house of Israel unless you are the head of an organization. These people, like the IUIC, for instance, they don't respect nobody in the house of Israel unless your name is Nate 7000. You know what I'm saying? They don't
yeah,
respect nobody in the house of Israel unless your name is Yahana. You know what I'm saying? And that's silly, man. That's man worship, man. We need to cut out the man worship and start respecting elders. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you a prime example of what I mean. Like say for instance, Apostles I came is an older man than me, but I've been in
yeah,
the house of Israel maybe 3 times longer than him. So spiritually, I would be an elder to him, and he should respect me for that. But in the natural, he's an elder to me in the physical, and I need to respect him for that. You
yeah,
see what I'm saying? Now we do understand that sometimes the elders do get out of line, and that's why we have to do a show about the elders and explain what it means to be an elder, because the elder is the highest place inside of all Israel.
yeah.
Because that's a place that we all, if we live, are going to aspire to be.
And that's why I like that. That's why I like the kind of debate. I didn't like to do a sharp debating the apostle because I don't think that he even should be on that platform with an elder and the way he talked it. He's only 20 years old. That's like my son talking to me like that.
But then you have to look at the league. What's the name of that league? The ultimately rigged debate league.
Ultimate fake league.
Yeah, you got to look at the ultimately rigged debate league. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And you have to look at the administrators. You know what I'm saying? Administrators doesn't have a natural respect for God. It's all about their concept. It ain't even about Jesus. It's about their concept of Jesus. You understand what I'm saying? And
yeah,
and in their concept of Jesus, a young man can disrespect the old man.
yeah.
Because that old man is out of line with Christ. So spank him up and disrespect him. You know what I'm saying? And that's sickening and ridiculous to me. You know what I'm saying? You know. Hold on for a second, Eric. Go ahead and handle the show. I gotta go do something for a second.
Hey, hold on. Share this while you're doing this. Or
Hold on, I gotta go do something for her real quick. Hold the show
oh,
down
okay,
for a
okay.
second.
All right. Can you share this real quick? I just shared. Can you put it up before you do it? Oh, you got it. All right. Yeah. Okay. I don't see what nobody. Let me see. Let me read the comments. All right.
No, I
Yeah.
couldn't share nothing. That's how I had to go do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm over here dealing with a bedridden woman. When I have to stop, I have to stop right away.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought it could be a minute, so I would just put something else on it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys don't do it quick, you can just share it and go do it because it will take me. I can do something another about 20 minutes, something like that. Yeah,
What's
this
up,
is
dude?
okay. Yeah, this is something I just did about the cherubims and angels and stuff. This is just more of um, I guess you would say mythical characters of with Christians and stuff portrayed in the Bible. I just like studying anything, you know what I mean. So I just put this up. This might be interesting to some people that actually believe in cherubims and angels and stuff like that. So I just put these up. But um, just going down some of the lineages of what these people are, because I always wanted to know, like, is it ranking? How did they look at these angels? When they spoke on, was it ranking? Was it different type of angels, or was it different type of beings? What did each being do? Um, stuff like that. So this is a little something right here.
We have a conversation going on about a Christian mystic. Who is
Yeah.
the Christian mystic, and what is a Christian mystic?
Mhm. Oh, I
Are you
thought you.
are you familiar?
Nope.
Yeah, J.J. Acts makes the statement that he's a Christian mystic,
Oh, I mean, I
and
know what a mystic is.
I don't know who is he. I don't know. Is he referring to you being a Christian mystic? I don't know who the he is.
Oh, he might be talking to April.
April, okay, yeah, and then and April is asking what is a Christian mystic. Can you explain to her, or do you have any
Well,
idea what?
mysticism is based off of cult. Some is based off. It's basically what the origin of a cults come from, where masonry comes from, where esotericism comes from. All that is intertwined with mysticism. Is about like some people would say Jesus of mysticism, the way he taught, the way how he did certain things, the way he looked at perception of life. You know what I'm saying? So like somebody like Kamisha would be considered like a mystic too. You know what I'm saying? Some of them it's like later on in modern times it became more like occultism, like Aleister Crowley. What's that other lady name you always be talking about?
We're talking about Madame
Yeah,
Blavatsky
Madame Blavatsky. Stuff like that.
and
So
stuff like Godfrey Higgins
yeah,
and
it's more like taking
Gerald
take,
Massey.
it's more like speaking on in an esoteric more form, like uh, 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 esotericism.
Yeah,
Um,
she asked the question. I don't
yeah,
answer
like
the
like the
question.
Christ consciousness. People speak on stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like
See, that's why.
Nepal is a mystic.
Yeah, she asked the question. I have an idea what those things is, but I don't deal with that stuff.
Yeah, but
That's why I
go
direct.
on my channel. Eric the Man Science Show. I got a whole thing on origin of mysticism, and
That's why I
actually,
direct. That's why I direct the
yeah,
question to you.
and actually, mysticism comes from the Greeks going into Egypt and mistranslating what Egypt believed. So Egypt, really, if you go to some colleges, it's called the first religion. They're the ones that spoke on the afterlife and stuff like that. They had temples of Isis. So when the Greeks went there, they misinterpreted a lot of the stuff and thought that a lot of the stuff was secret and only for certain things. So when they created it through the Greeks created the secret societies and mysticism and esotericism, and a lot of that stuff was mixed in. So
Yeah,
that's how.
as we know it today, the stuff that we getting today, that stuff coming from Godfrey Higgins and Gerald
Yeah, yeah,
Massey
yeah,
for the
yeah.
most part.
Yeah,
I
and but a
mean,
lot of them got it from Greek, Greek basically. it's basically based off a lot of Greek stuff, but they put a lot of stuff that they just added a lot of stuff in it. You know what I mean?
A lot of that stuff I think is straight made up. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't
Yeah, I mean,
find.
it basically
Yeah,
is. Yeah, it's just
yeah,
it's
and that's why I don't deal with it. I think it's a bunch of baloney. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, where the way they did it is probably made up, but it's I mean, it's just supposed to be like a secret society of rituals. It's rituals, traditions that I mean, it later on got turned into a secret knowledge type thing, but it's like traditions. It's like things that they
Yeah,
had, that they believed that they taught, and they had it in a certain temples and stuff that everybody didn't know about. But it's mostly was on based off of traditions and rituals and stuff like that. And they just kept secret from the masses of people. You know what I'm saying? But later on, like them people like Higgins and stuff like that turned it into like a knowledge type thing.
yeah. I'm not, for the record, April. I am not the one to ask on the subject. And when I bring people on the show, these people are the when they don't be afraid to ask them about and pick their brain about the information that they bring. That's why I bring them here. They say something, it sparks your brain. You ask the question, and I'm here to see that they answer that question, because I don't want nobody on here putting out information that they can't defend
Yeah.
or
So
even or explain or even teach.
yeah, so that's why I said go to my YouTube, Eric the Mad Scientist, True Knowledge, and I have a John. Well, you go to Lansdale actually because I did on Lansdale too. It's called The Origin of Mysticism. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
For
And
the record,
it shows how Jane of Arc, it shows how Jesus, it shows how Buddha, all of them are part mystics. How they
y'all
taught the
should
mystics.
y'all should don't believe in mysticism. I don't believe in esoteric. I don't believe in Christianity. I don't believe in Islam. Like Brother Tory came on here and wanted to do a show, and the show did pretty good. But
Yeah,
he wanted to do a show about paganism and monotheism, right? But I
yeah,
don't teach paganism, right? He want to teach paganism, but then he got to the point to where he started asking me questions and stuff
yeah,
like that. But my thing about it is, I don't teach paganism. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You brought that to this platform, so you have to deal with that. I don't teach
yeah, yeah.
paganism. If you're not a scholar, then you shouldn't bring that stuff up over
Exactly.
here. I mean, I don't teach Christianity. So if you want to bring up paganism and Christianity, brother, I'm gonna let you go ahead and do your thing. But I ain't got nothing to say because I don't teach Christianity. And
Yeah,
what ends up happening is people begin to start asking me questions, as if though I'm supposed to defend my guests. You know what I'm saying? I'm not defending my guests. Every guest that I bring on the show should be competent enough to explain, teach, and to defend themselves. And if they're not, then that's on them.
yeah. I mean, for real, I could put up. Matter of fact, if y'all want to know, hold on. If y'all want to know about it, I could do you better and just put my YouTube thing I did up. Let me see. That speaks on the origin of
Because
messages.
at some point, the opinions and the views of the guest doesn't necessarily reflect that of the owner of the show.
Yeah,
And that shows professionalism. I don't have to be on here fighting with people that I disagree with,
yeah,
or arguing and acting like I have cognitive dissonance over things that I may not even know or understand.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where professionalism come in at. You know,
Let me see. If you want to see a little bit of it, if she's still on, I'm gonna show y'all a little bit of it. That's my my origin of mysticism. I did a
oh,
little bit
Jay,
on that.
Jay want the link. Let me send Jay the link.
All right.
There you go.
That shit.
The link is in the
I
chat,
think
Doc.
that I do it on here. I might ain't do it. I might just
Now
do it
watch.
on
Now watch Jay Jizzle come. He finna turn the show up. This about niggas about to be laughing in every goddamn thing. Here come this crazy nigga, boy. This nigga about to do.
Oh yeah, I ain't do this one on no platform yet. This did I do it?
Hey, hit that link, Jay.
My research on summer and the Sumerians. I think I don't. I think I ain't do that one yet. Yeah,
I just dropped the link, Jay.
Oh yeah, here go my origin. That origin
They
of
go link right there in the chat.
that one. That's part one.
DOA just texted me earlier telling me he got G-Man. He got G-Man. He holding G-Man hostage over there on
Yeah.
Clubhouse.
Yeah, DOA be getting it in. Salute to DOA. I call him the silent killer. No, I'm gonna call him the humble killer because he humbly kill you. JJ, get over here.
Nah, I'm finna see if I'm gonna call him, see if I can get him up here. He had he might. I ain't see him when he said sitting the link. Sometimes I don't be paying attention to what's going on down there.
Yeah. I got to jump on Summer too in the Sumerians. I might got to do that shit one day too. Man, I got some shit I could put on this shit.
Yeah, see that the one with the Sumerians that we might I might that you might get in on that one with me when I go in
I
on
bet,
that
bet.
on Lex because that's what he digging all down through there.
I got another jump too. Was Moses real mythological patriarch? This the only reason I put this out because I heard some people trying to say Eitan Ra was Moses. So I just compared them together and showed how some people saying he is and some people saying he ain't. So that was just something I put together. But I kept hearing people trying to compare him to a lot of different people.
He must have dipped out of the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Now me, Israelite esoteric to me, from my knowledge and my research, Israelite esoteric would be something like a Levitical priest, and his esoterica is all revolved around the Hebrew thought and the Hebrew language.
I
You know,
mean, it's different forms of air. Like I say, to me, you're like you said, you're Israelite esoteric, meaning like you don't teach that is angels are angels. You don't teach that like we would say demons. I say demons was idols and false gods in the Old Testament,
yeah,
not
see,
demons now. So that would to a certain people that would be called esoteric.
yeah, it would be esoteric because it's hidden behind the Hebrew language.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
didn't know, and that's why I said that because if you didn't know the Hebrew language, you wouldn't be able to come up with these conclusions.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like a Malacca's messenger.
yeah,
But in English, a Malacca is some white man with wings and shit. You know what I'm saying? Flying
yeah,
around in the sky and in your head and in your imagination. You know what I'm saying? But it's in real Hebrew, it's a human being, it's a man. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? And these are hidden understandings because they're hidden inside of the Hebrew language. If you was to read the Hebrew Tanakh, it wouldn't be hidden, providing the fact that you understand the language.
yeah.
Oh snap! We got OJ Jizzle in the hizzle. He done popped on in here.
What
What's
up,
up,
Flam?
Jay?
What up, though?
Just listening, man.
Yeah,
Good topic.
yeah. Something new, something different.
Yeah. But
Yeah, yeah.
now I was talking about Lex Vortex. He claims to be a Christian mystic.
Oh, hey,
Christian
did you
mystic.
get the did you get the other part of the show, the beginning part? It was real good. We are getting off in the consciousness and all of that.
I didn't get to see it. I seen bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But yeah, he to me he's confused because he teaches us as African stuff. We want we supposed to speak Swahili, and then he's talking about Christian mysticism, which has nothing to do with Africa. Then he's talking about the dark side. Christian mystics refer to the light. So that's what I'm saying. Lex is all over the place, bro.
Yeah, he's not confused to me. He's intentionally doing that. And I think that he's intentionally doing that because he's a Freemason. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what
Maybe
Freemasons do.
some bits of the mysticism. and mysticism and mysticism actually created Freemasonry. Freemasonry is actually based off of mysticism.
Yeah, you look at, when you find people that, I just found a way where I'm able to tell Masonic people or people or Masonic influenced people, and they have a history. Okay, like say for instance, they'll do stuff like mix Christianity and Kemet. You know what I'm saying? They'll do stuff like mix, you know, Judaism and Hindu.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? This is how coming up with like silly shit like saying Abraham was a Brahmin.
yeah. You
All of
said,
that kind of yeah,
yeah.
that kind of all
I
of
mean,
that
like young Pharaoh, basically like a young
yeah, all of
Pharaoh.
that mixing up type of shit
Yeah,
is that's the shit that Masons do. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Yeah, to me, he has a Freemasonic agenda, and a Freemasonic agenda. You either in the world, you either have a world that's going to be dominated by by religion, or you're going to have a world that's dominated by Freemasonry. And people that do that are those who chose to Freemasonic dominate.
yeah,
They're cheerleaders for the lodge for the most part.
yeah,
I mean, think about it. You got guys like us. We got a religion and a whole organized school of thought to bring you to. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that. They have a lodge to bring you to.
yeah.
So which one of these did you want to come up?
Oh, what is that? Oh, that ain't mine.
Early Christian mysticism, Lions Den.
And that might be. Is that you, JJ?
Yeah, that's JJ's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine's the video.
Did you just pop something up too?
Not yet. Mine was the video that you showed.
Which
Yeah,
one?
but
Which one?
JJ can go if you putting something up.
Go ahead, get it in, Jay.
Might be muted.
7 early Christian mysticism. You asked about Christian mysticism. There it is. You got some guys on here that ain't afraid to talk to you about that stuff today, girl. See, she said she came from a long line of Masons.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know. I talked to her about that before. I mean, I have too. My cousin. I got my first cousin's a Mason. My next door neighbor's a Mason. My cousin uncle's a Mason. Like I know them.
And it could be the reason, why especially if grandma like talk to you, like people in your family talk to you a lot about certain things, you could pick up on that brain frame.
Okay, no wonder that my mic was muted. Okay.
Yeah.
That nigga over there having a party by itself.
All right, let me go ahead and get this out. All right. This is early Christian mysticism, Cambridge University Press, from Antiquity, published online by Cambridge University Press, 2016. It says this is a summary or introduction. Early Christian mysticism customarily has been understood as relatively late Platonic philosophical product of patriot theology. The key word is Platonic. Platonic. That's the what is that?
That's
Platonic.
platonic, like having a platonic relationship and shit.
A platonic. Okay.
Yeah,
Marked
platonic.
particularly by denies the Areopagite, also known as a pseudo Dionysus. He is thought to have written around 500 CE. So Lex, your stuff starts around this time, 500 CE. It's taught the apothic way in which the soul escapes the world to unite with an unknowable God. First generation of Christians and their foundational narratives are also casually brushed aside as background to a mysticism arising later from Christian fusion of Neoplatoism. So what I'm saying, it's a fusion of all these different philosophical beliefs. They're all over the goddamn place. Although it is true that the particular strand of Christianity fused with Neoplatoism. So this is Greek Neoplatoism produced a type of mysticism taught and practiced by Denis. It's also true that long before Denis lived, there was already a rich tradition of Christian mysticism, which grew out of the older Jewish traditions. When historians of Christianity talk about mysticism, they usually define it nearly in terms of the medieval Christian monastic tradition, in which the devotee, through spiritual practices, gradually purged darkness from his soul. Now, stop right there. They purged darkness from his soul. But Lex Vortex is always teaching about this dark side. You see what I'm saying? He's
Yeah.
confused because Christian mystics, they look for the light. They purge the darkness out. This guy coming on the camera acting like he's really teaching us something. It's just mixing and matching, and like you say, Terry, keeping people confused.
Yeah, he got the code. He said he got the code. You know what I'm saying? And he talk about the initiates. When you start talking like that, then I have to ask you, well, where you get the code from and who initiated you? And
Right.
the only answer you can give me is Freemasonry, bro.
But he's going against everything that this represents. How you a Christian mystic? And it says through spiritual practices, they gradually purge darkness from the soul.
Yeah, and that's why I was trying to say that, like Jesus, of like y'all, like a Christian or a Christian Israelite, they would be considered mystic. But what happened is you have people like a Zion Lex that's teaching it in a wrong form, that's making it look bad.
No.
So when people
you mean Lex Vortex?
Who I said?
You said Zion Lex.
Oh shit! I don't know why I keep saying the big snow was Zion Lex. Yeah, Lex Vortex. They're using, and he's coming from a Masonic, and then trying to cover it with that. So now, when you think he's talking about, he's not even talking about Christian mysticism like y'all said. He's talking about Masonry.
Now,
Yeah, he talking. Yeah, he coming from a Masonic bag.
He didn't show his hand.
Yeah.
Right. They talking about Jesus Christ is a serpent in the garden. They don't teach that. These Christian mystics. It says, let's see, Lex, it says, gradually purge darkness for the soul, but you're always talking about this dark side. We're from the dark side. It don't it don't match up. It says,
I never understood what he meant by the dark side. Because even Masonry don't do dark side; they do the light bearer. So it's like,
it says,
that sound like a nigga that's cheerleading for Satan, hell, and the devil.
yeah.
Yeah, what I'm saying.
And it's sad because I don't even believe in that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just finish this rest of this paragraph. It's almost over. Okay, it says, they define mysticism as a direct experience of ultimate reality. I suggest that we set aside our monastic definition of mysticism and examine as comparativist, I can't pronounce that, comparativist might those claim the direct, how you say it?
Comparativist.
Okay, comparativists might those claim the direct primordium experience of God found in the foundational Christian sources. We will find that this approach allows the texts themselves to define the phenomenon of early Christian mysticism. Last paragraph, apocalyptic experiences. To describe their immediate primordium experience of God, the early Christians did not use the word mysticism, which derives from the Greek word myo, to be initiated. Although they do sometimes speak of the revelation of mysteries, mysteria, the first Christians called their direct immediate experience of God apocalypses or revelations. The most famous example of the vision of the heavenly realm are the descriptions of astrological events given by John at Patmos. These are described as the revelation of Christ in Revelations 1 and 1. The book of Revelation mimics the form of other contemporary Jewish apocalypse, in which the otherworldly journeys of seers are described, focusing on the primordium journey or vision and the revelation of secret knowledge of world events and cosmic endings. But the main point of this is to show. The reason why I showed this part is because he's contradicting himself when he's talking about this dark side, and Christian mystics purge the dark spirits from the soul.
Yeah.
Like, them niggas making up their own shit, man.
Yeah. That was said they make these things seem bad because the way they teach it and the way they not teaching in the right way. So when you hear somebody say this and this and that, you're thinking a whole different way because what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said they that, but he teaches from a Masonic way, and Masonics don't teach a whole truth. So he's not teaching the truth the way he really believe. He's teaching in a form that deceive people, and
Right.
that's why me and Kamisha get on his ass, and he don't like when we say that shit to him.
Right. And he think we can't catch on. I'm like, bro, you saying two contradicting things. Christian mystics, and you saying it's African. You
Yeah,
saying this is African, and then you talking about we should be speaking hot Swahili, and we should come over to the dark side. Christian mystics don't say nothing about being the dark side. One year he was a goddamn Aboriginal with some goddamn feathers on his head. They got a whole picture of him.
yeah.
Dude, confused. It was a waste of time. Yeah, ain't never seen that picture.
Yeah. Man, that's why I say he's Masonic because he's going through all different. It
He's
called
doing
school. It's
he's
called
doing the
schools.
he's doing
They
the
call it,
Doctor York.
yeah, he's going through school.
Man, you could say that's called schools, but Dr. York didn't do it like that, man. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
he
saying?
did his. He. That's why I said Dr. Yoga exposed the bases and told you that how they're supposed to win.
I'm
But
saying,
that's what they try to.
what I'm saying is that when Dr. York went through a Muslim school, he went through a Muslim school. When he
Yeah,
went through an Israelite school, he went through an Israelite school. This nigga here didn't jump from Mesopotamian to Kemet to
Pan Africanism.
all in one presentation, bro. Come on, like
yeah.
Yeah, he
I
did.
agree. I agree with
He do
that.
that all the time.
That's why I said Dr. Yoga took her toward the real school of how you supposed to went through. And they fucked the Nawabians up because a lot of them people are stuck in the schools and never advanced to the other levels. So a lot of them are Christian Nawabians, some of them are Indian Nawabians, some of them are Kemet Nawabians, some of them are Masonic
the truth of the
Nawabians.
matter is, Dr. York shouldn't have never prescribed that stuff like that to begin with. All of it
Yeah,
was
I agree.
completely wrong. He should have either taught straight Hebrew, straight Islam, or straight Christianity. And if he felt that he wanted to evolve through them slowly. Like say for instance, me, I was a Christian, right? I
Yeah,
went through the Christian school. I was a Christian minister. I was a Christian preacher. I left that alone and became an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? I went
yeah,
through that school, New
yeah,
Testament Israelite, and then I evolved to an Old Testament Israelite. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
He
yeah,
has to do it. If we did it like that, I can respect it. But for the way that he was doing it, you know what I'm saying? I can't. I didn't respect it because it was designed to create confusion.
yeah. That's the same thing. After I went to just different levels of the school myself, and just it ain't like I went to knew I was going to a school. I decided to do this, and then I evolved from that and did something else, evolved from it, like that. It ain't like I said, let me go to this school or go to that school. Yes, I agree with that. He shouldn't have did it that way because now people are stuck at certain levels, and that's what split them up because now you got different levels of teaching of from one place. You know what I mean? But you can show me a video real quick. It's like 20 something minutes. I'm just gonna show a couple things that we can stop speak on it if you want to. I ain't gonna show the whole thing.
Yeah, get it in.
All right, it's already sharing. All right, I'm about to play it. Let me know if y'all hear it.
Okay.
Can you hear it?
Making this presentation about
Can you
mysticism.
hear that?
Turn it up just a little bit.
All right, what?
Mysticism,
Can you hear that?
and
Yeah.
All right.
showing the origin of how when people could come and take what
Yeah, just
people
load in the
believe
chamber.
and through
Huh?
misunderstanding
Yeah,
can
just
actually
load it in the
change
chamber.
the understanding of it and then pass.
You say it's low?
No, I said you had this loaded in the chamber.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, peace. Making this presentation about mysticism, and showing the origin of how when people could come and take what people believe and through misunderstanding can actually change the understanding of it and then pass it down to the people after them, thinking that they getting it from the original, but actually getting it from a copy of misunderstanding. Let's get to it. Mysticism. Ancient Greek mysticism by Hannah Shapiro. The Greeks gave us the word for mysticism. The Greek word "moo" means to shut the eyes of the mouth. Muo is closely related to the verb mio, to initiate into the mysteries. The closed eyes and mouth in this context do not signify blindness and muteness, but secrecy and silence. In the order not to reveal the secrets of the initiation and revelation that one has received, these Greek root words have given us mystic and mysticism, mystery, mysteries, as well as mute. Every time we talk about mysticism, we speak of the we speak a bit of the Greek. But what exactly is mysticism? The word is often downgraded to mean superstition, priestcraft, occultism, and magic, or other things that are regarded as irrational, all of which are somewhat related to
Eric, stop right there
mysticism
real quick.
and the mystical life.
All right, hold on.
But the basic meaning of mysticism
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Now, see, did y'all hear? He said it also deals with magic. Did you hear that, Yash? So these mystics, they deal with magic. No different than these so-called Cometics who deal with Heka. The Kemetic priests dealt with magic. That's where they attributed their power to magic. The Levitical priesthood didn't attribute their power to magic. They attributed it to the Most High. So I don't understand how y'all could even have a debate and say that the Kemetic priesthood was a precursor to the Levitical priesthood. It makes no sense. Go ahead.
has to do with the relationship of human beings to a divinity of deity or for non-thesis, thesis. So that's letting you know the breakdown of what it really is, and like I said, how we get the precept of what we think it is, but really started off at. And let's see what I'm talking about now. This right here, this is the oldest secret society. Let's see where they say they get theirs from. Rosicrucians, the Rose Cross Ladies, claim to be the oldest fraternal order in the world. They believe that all knowledge is part of the single ultimate truth, a truth they kept for 5,000 years. They state that they state they began in the magic and mystery schools of ancient Egyptians and kept the secrets intact through the age despite being jealously prosecuted by religion and kings alike. Or so Michael Mayer claimed in 17th century French. They trace their established in Egypt. Huh. They trace their beginnings to the mystery school, which was established in Egypt during the reign of the Pharaoh Thutmose and Hatshepsut around 1500 BCE. The monarchs united Egypt's various cults into a single state priesthood, the Per Anku. The order claims their most famous members were Akhenaten and his wife Nefertiti. So this is the oldest organization claiming that they get it all the way back from Egypt. And this is why I say most of these people that's talking about it getting their origin back from Egypt, they're not telling the truth or either they just don't know. So let's go. This to show you what I mean. Okay. Egypt inspired Greeks. Ancient Egypt's neighbors in Greece wrote their belief that Egyptian priests and magicians possess secret knowledge. Greek belief in Egypt, Egyptian secret knowledge is one strand of Greek philosophy that contributed to the modern belief that the Egyptians perfected mysticism, astrology, and magic. A wide variety of modern truth seekers have looked into Egyptians for inspiration. They included the Freemasons, Rosicrucians, Theosophists, Anthropophysics, and Afrocentrists. These groups share a belief that Egyptians both created the first civilization and that their knowledge has only recently been rediscovered by modern science. So they say this is a lost knowledge that they believe that.
I want y'all to hear that now. They put Rosicrucians and Afrocentrics in the same categories. So a lot of these Afrocentrics, when they're talking about Kemet, they're not getting that shit from an African part of what you call Kemet or Tamari. A lot of that shit is coming from the Greek version. And this is what a commission be talking about. A lot of that stuff comes from the Ptolemies and the Greeks and the Romans that already had it. So that's what a lot of that stuff is coming from. So they don't really know the old kingdom. They don't really know the middle kingdom. That's why when you ask these people what dynasties they're getting from, they really can't tell you. You see what I'm saying? And like he said, they really don't even know the translation or really the decipherment of this stuff because the decipherments they even read is in Greek translation. All right. Oh shit.
Cool. The order claims these groups share magic, a wide variety of is what changed it. 100% correct from the Egyptians. Okay. Mysticism, astrology, and all right. Now, let's go to one of the gods of Egypt first. And let me show you how it changed from one thing to another. And this is what I'm talking about. How can us who getting some thousands of years later think we're getting something intact and 100% correct? And then it has been translated. Okay, so let me get to my point. Thoth. In the Old Kingdom, the Egyptians regarded the god Thoth as a violent deity who helped the king defeat enemies. But in the Middle Kingdom, the Egyptians identified and gave Thoth credit for the first statement of knowledge of the next life. The coffin text spells inscribed on Middle Kingdom coffins refer to the divine books of Thoth and to the god as the Lord of Wisdom. Now you see how from the Old Kingdom just to the Middle Kingdom how it changed. Just from the Old Kingdom to the Middle Kingdom. He became a vine deity that helped the enemy. To help the king defeat enemies to a person who created the knowledge and writings and spells. Come on now. Now that's just from what they would say are the same people from the old to the middle, but we know it been, invaded a couple times here and there. So, and that's why I said it can't stay intact through invasion. Now let's go to who Thoth really was. Because Thoth's not even the original word. You see what I'm saying? So even then, they still was changing the words to benefit their understanding. And when you do that, you just not gonna get. It's just not gonna never be the same. Egyptian's name was Jehuti, also Dhyty, meaning he who is like the ibis. The ibis was a sacred bird. The ancient Egypt was well as a popular the bird in ancient Egypt as well as a popular pet and associated with wisdom. So this is the symbolism part that people not understanding. And see, the Egyptians they didn't look at it as far as they worshiping these gods as real people or real gods like we do today. But the problem is, to like I said, Israelite. This is called idol worship and God worship because they made images and stories behind it and called it a deity. That's why if you hear them in Kemet and Israelite argue, Kemetic said, no, we have deities and not gods. But to an Israelite, it would be the same. So, you got to go to the aspects of what eyes you're looking from. How Greeks stole from Egypt and created their own.
I wish I could understand what I said about that. The Egyptians were trying to say that it's just a deity. It comes from astrology, it comes from nature. But in the Israelite eyes, we call this idol worship, and we call this false god worship because you have took this image or this astrology or nature, you have created a story around it, you have created a being around it, and you have created a temple around it to where we call it pray worshiping them. So we say that you are, so as an Israelite, you would say y'all are worshiping a god, and that's what they don't get the concept from. Okay.
Boom. The story of Setni Cambrus was written in the Ptolemaic period. It tells the story of the struggle between Setni and the magician Naneferkaptah, Naneferkaptah for possession of the book of magic written by the god Thoth. Greek ideas that Egyptian magic stems from the god they believe was Thoth's equivalent in their own culture, Hermes. Greek writers regularly misinterpreted Greek stories to create a philosophy called Hermetism that they believed was Egyptian, but in fact was a Greek misinterpretation of Egyptian culture. There is no evidence that the Egyptians believed in mystical relations of knowledge in the Greek sense. So this right here is telling you it was misinterpreting things that fit their philosophy. So they was taking these things, switching around, changing the name, changing the understanding, changing the definition of the gods, you know what I mean? But it was similar because it's not from, they saying it's not, these people are saying it's not for purpose, on purpose. They say it's because of the misinterpretation, because of the way they thought. If a Christian right now go into an Old Testament, like I said, an Old Testament guy wrote a book, and a Christian and a Christian tried to read it, right? Do you really think they'll be able to do it? Because one believes in a Trinity, one believes in a man that's coming to save, and the other one only believes in God. So of course they're not going to interpret or even through translators to really understand where this person is coming from. It's just what it is. The cultures are different. The belief system is different. Greece created secret cults. In ancient Greek cults, initiation was the norm. Initiation consists of secret rites, ceremonies, orders of instructions used to allow a member to enter a sect or a secret society, usually one that held a certain philosophy about Egyptian life and the gods. The Greeks assumed the Egyptian cults also had initiation. The mysteries of Osiris and Abydos are the most frequently cited example of initiation in the Greek sense, yet the festival route in Abydos, as with festivals routes in other Egypt's towns, points to a public ceremony with processions to public shrines, singing, dancing, and general rejoicing as integral and to the festival. As late as 200 CE, the Christian writer Felix knew that Abydos festival was public rather than private. So what they're saying is they was creating secret societies and initiations coming off of believing that the Greeks was doing this, but not understanding that it was not a secret society. And they're saying it's not a secret society because they was more public with theirs. This is when it started becoming more secret and secret society where you had to get initiated and do things once the Greeks got a hold to it. So modern mysticism and
So what that means is, when we say this, what that means is what they saying when they see these people doing it, they understand that these people had a temple of Isis, a temple of this, a temple of that, and everybody in Egypt did not know these things. Everybody in Egypt did not know how to read off the wall. Everybody in Egypt was not in these temples. So when they seen that, they thought it was a secret or a place where they kept their rituals and everything secret. So when they pass it on to the Greek, well, the Greeks took it and passed it and brought it back to Greeks, they thought it was a secret society that wasn't for the public. But in Egypt, it was public, but everybody in the public did not have these things because you had different temples, you had different understandings. It was a multitude of different things, and that's why they had all these different gods and different temples. And most of it was for royalty. It was not for just for the regular people. So they took it as this is a secret society that everybody should not know. All right, and misinterpreted.
And secret society origin is Greek influence. Thus, there does seem to be an Egyptian basis for many ideas propagated by the ancient Greeks by Egyptian spiritual knowledge. Clearly, however, the Greeks interpreted much of what they saw in ancient Egypt to confirm with their own ideas of spirituality, philosophy, and secret knowledge. Though there was an Egyptian basis for many Greek ideas about ancient Egypt, the Greeks' distinctive interpretation led to many modern views of Egypt as the land of mysteries, spiritualism, and secret knowledge. Again, it's just showing. So all that secret society, mysticism, all that stuff they saying it came from Egypt. No, it came from the Greeks who misinterpreted Egypt. Greek Mystery School by Met Museum. Shrouded in secrecy, ancient mystery cults fascinate and capture the imagination appendant to the official cults in the Greeks and Romans. Mystery cults serve more personal, individualistic attitudes towards death and afterlife. Most were based on sacred stories that often involve the ritual reenact of death, rebirth, myth, and particular divinity. In addition to the promise of a better afterlife, mystery cults fostered social bonds among the participants called mystia. Initiation fees and other contributions were also expected. Department of Greek and Roman art. Now, you see what I'm saying? Even they was making money off this. This is an ancient thing. So the people that's doing that today understand they are doing this because of money.
And I want to say that that's why I tell people a lot of people have to listen to what Yasha has to say because he's teaching in an old fashioned way of Israelites. And what happened is Israelite or Jewish mysticism that turns that Greek mysticism, all that start teaching about the afterlife and stuff like that. So anybody that talks about the mysticism, that talks about afterlife, that talks about God and connection to a God and divinity is a part of that type of mysticism. But
And
later on,
see,
mysticism became misinterpreted to be about magic and occultism, and that's what happened.
right, okay, yeah, good point. Go ahead.
Uh,
This is a beneficial thing to make people think that they're part of something secret and special. Earliest mysteries. Illusion. The earliest and most celebrated mysteries were the illusion and Eleusis, the worship of the archaeological deities Demeter and her daughter Persephone, also known as Kor, was based on the growth cycles of nature. Athenians believed they were the first to receive the gift of grain cultivation from Demeter. Extraordinarily, the goddess herself revealed to them the solemn rites in her honor, as we learned the Homeric hymn to Demeter, which relates to the foundation myth of Eleusinian cult. So, see, this is one of the first mysteries that the Greeks dealt with. And like I said, most of this stuff is about nature. It's either archaeology or nature or animals. These are the three things these people, or or animals. These are the three things most of these people, I guess, not. I guess you say honored as deities, but as like I said, it's like you would say worship as gods. ISIS and the spread of especially ISIS and the spread of especially in Rome. So ISIS spread in Rome. So you know what I mean. This talking about ISIS, um, the ISIS, the goddess Isis, and how she was spread through Rome from Egypt. Isis was another Eastern goddess who caught spread all over the Mediterranean. Similar to Demeter, Isis was considered a lawgiver and protector of the crops, while ritual purification and sacred rites were performed in her honor. In pharaonic, in pharaonic Egypt, Isis was sister of a wife Osiris, god of the afterlife, and a mother of Horus, whom she appears suckling. In the Greek word, the earliest temple dedicated to Isis was founded in Athens in the 4th century BCE. The cult spread rapidly through the 3rd century BC and was linked closely to the particular and military activities of the Ptolemies. Isis remained a distinctively Egyptian goddess, and her cult maintained a clear Egyptian identity even after the conquest of Alexander and the Romans. Okay, just talking about ISIS, had it spread through Greeks. Now let's go to ISIS. Same with Thoth. Isis, Egyptian is set one of the most important goddesses of ancient Egypt. Her name is the Greek form of an ancient Egyptian word for throne. So this is what I'm saying. People is going by the interpretation, even in the names, even in the deities. They'll say Isis, not even knowing that's not is the Egyptian word. Then some people would know as I said. But how much people really go by that? Because I know people, most people say Osiris. I mean Isis. Romans adopt mysticism. And this is going from the Egyptians to the Greeks to the Romans, but most of us would tell you that the Greeks and Romans damn near are the same people. A big subject, which I am only just beginning to write about. The Romans were great believers and indeed lovers of mysticism and superstition in all aspects of life. We can see evidence of that scattered about ancient Rome culture to this day. Rome abundant in mystery, religions and cults were what went on inside what is to be kept secret to all non-members. Examples include Mithraism and the cult of Dionysus, 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 forbidden for its violent and orgastic nature, which resulted in the unforgettable political scandal. So that's talking about the Romans and they really loved the mysticism and all that because, like I said, they ain't nothing but a branch off of the Greeks. Emperor Constantine truce, Mithraism, and Christianity. Emperor Constantine heralded the victory of Christianity over Mithraism, and this meant that Mithraic altars, such as the one which can be seen under the Church of Clement Saint Clement in Rome, were destroyed by the Christians. As Mithraism had had the better at the time, one may stretch the imagination of a little and suggest that the culture of the Western world of today will have been Mithric. So if they saying is this other I guess you would say type of religion or whatever mysticism, if this didn't get destroyed and Constantine didn't put it down and bring Christianity over, most of us would be this. Because we know why they created it. They created these things for power, okay? Constantine got rid of Christian sects. Constantine called the Council of Nicaea, which was a gathering of Christian leaders to determine the formal or orthodox belief of Christianity. The result of this council was the Nicene Creed, which laid out the agreed upon beliefs of the council. In 380 CE, the Emperor Theodosius issued the Edict of Thessalonica, Thessalonica, which made Christianity, specifically Nicene Christianity, the official religion of the Roman Empire. Most other Christian sects were deemed heretic, heretic, oh, heretical, lost their legal status, and had their properties confiscated by the Roman state. Okay, this is saying they made a type of Nicene Christianity and got rid of the most and put this type of Christianity over because it was always different sects. It was never one type of Christianity, just like today. Okay, and so this is not saying, from my reading and understanding, it's not saying that Constantine created Christianity. It's saying the form of Christianity was always around. I guess they would made the name Christians by calling them Christians. I guess you would say that's why you made it, but he didn't make that type of. They're saying he basically adopted it, took it, put it over top of the other cults, occultists and mysticism, and made it their own, and then got rid of the other Christian sects by claiming that they are heretical. They're heretics. Okay. Roman influence on Christianity. The Roman Empire did not become Christianized overnight. Roman religious beliefs changed slowly over time. At the time of the Russian Roman Empire fell, 467 CE, Christianity was still spreading. It is also important to remember that Christianity itself did not appear suddenly or fully formed. Christianity grew out of Jewish traditions and was shaped by Roman cultural and particular structures of several countries. Christianity was deeply influenced by both Judaism and Roman cultural institutions. We can't fully understand the development of Christian religion without putting it into these contexts. So this one I was talking about being influenced. So Christianity is coming on and once the Roman Empire took it, of course they put their own spin on it. They influenced it by Roman thoughts, and they say Judaism is in it. So you got to understand. This is what I mean when somebody else touches it. Mysticism, Paul letters, the mystical aspects of early Christianity finds its fullest expression, however, in the letters of Paul and the gospel according to John. For Paul and John, mystical experience and aspirations are always for union with Christ. It was Paul's supreme desire to know Christ and to be united with them. The recurrent phase in Christ implies personal union, participation in Christ's death and resurrection. The Christ with whom Paul is united is not the man Jesus who is known after the flesh. He was been exalted and glorified so that he is one with the Holy Spirit. So they saying that's a lot of what made him mysticism, part of mysticism, because of the one being united with or reunion with the one with a deity, which is Christ. But people want to accept that. They accept him as just a real man, but some people accept him as a deity, as a deity form. People like me would say it's the son. That he's the son, and he's other different gods too, but mixed in, but he's the son. Worship on Sunday. That's created into a man that has a story behind it, just like any other mythical mysticism story. Christianity and Roman mysticism similarities. The similarity of religious vocabulary is also great. Greek life was characterized by such things as democratic institutions, seafaring, gymnasium, and athletic games, theater, and philosophy. The mystery religions adopted many expressions from those domains. They spoke of assembly, of the mystia, the voyage of life, the ship, the anchor, and the port of religion, and the wealth of an initiate. Life was a stage, and the man was the actor. The Christians took over the entire terminology, but many pagan words were strangely twisted in order to fit into a Christian world. And that's what I'm talking about. When everything became translated and they took and put all these books together, they mixed in a lot of paganism through the words and they added books. They can say what they want to. You ain't go hide the Romans was your enemy, but they have a book called the Book of Romans. Okay, let's get to the differences they're saying. There are also great differences between Christianity and the mysteries.
All right, well, that was part one. The part two, like 7 minutes, but it just break it down the mysticism I had. It got added on, but
Yeah, look, I got it this Sunday evening. The store's about to close early. I got
yeah,
to make a run to the store. So if you can hold it down for me until I get back, you
okay.
know.
I gotta get ready for work, y'all. But yeah, good information, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, we can shut it down. I don't know. I don't do about three presentations if we want to.
Yeah.
So,
All
Yeah.
right, family. Thanks for the information.
All right,
all right, peace
yeah.
out.
So yeah, we just shut it down and we come back tomorrow or something. What you say, Tuesday 7?
Yeah,
Yeah, Eric can come back over and conclude at Tuesday at 7. And what was that other information you
I'm gonna
wanted to
do.
drop?
When I say Esau is not the white man, I'm gonna use science and stuff like that. Just as far as just Esau, not him becoming. Because me and Pastor had a discussion, and I agree with a lot of the apostles saying that people can become a certain people, even though I'm gonna show a little bit of signs of how that can fully happen. But as but as far as just him himself as Esau being a European white man, it cannot happen unless certain things have to happen, and he still wouldn't be a white person. Even if he was albino, there's certain things that have to happen before them into the genetics. So, and then I might just show my Sumerian and Summer film to that. Well, no, you said you could do a show on that, so we could do that when we read on that.
Yeah, you might, yeah. I'll probably do mine Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. I'll see that for Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm getting the older I get, the lazier I get.
Yeah, I might find something tomorrow if you're willing to.
Hey,
Shit,
the
let me
truth
know.
of the matter is that YouTube ain't paying that money right. So you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? They discourage me from, they don't treat red right over here on YouTube. So,
yeah,
I just come over here, man, when I feel like it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I don't feel obligated, I mean, I just hate to say this, man, but when I go look at my revenue and see how much my money go up every day, it's almost like, man,
yeah. I feel it.
yeah, man,
I
but
mean, if you feel like doing something, just let me know. I'm on tomorrow. So if not, we just do it Tuesday. I
yeah,
got
you
all
can do,
I got all type of presentations, man. So
yeah, you
that
could do
day.
something. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna come back on until maybe I mean, we're talking about with an actual presentation. I'm probably not gonna come back on until Wednesday
Okay.
for my presentations. Now, something may pop up, current events or something may pop up that cause me to come over here. But far as having a planned lesson, I won't be doing no planned lessons till Wednesday. Now we could do a bunch of open mics and open discussions, and
Yeah, we can.
you know,
I mean, if we can find some people, I could put some information up and we can speak on it, start the conversation up.
yeah, have some open
Yeah,
discussions. And
yeah,
if you got some information you want to let loose, that's fine. But far as me goes, I won't be doing no scholarship until about Wednesday.
okay, okay. That's fine. I'm about to go eat anyway.
Yeah. I need to run to the store before the store closed. They close early on Sunday.
Yeah, this is a great show. I'm about to share it. See what people got to say about it.
Yeah, I liked it the very first part of it.
Yeah,
Once y'all
yeah.
start,
I just
once,
use the last part just to add it on.
yeah, y'all
Add on.
start getting off into all that other stuff. Y'all, I fall all the way back. That's
Yeah,
totally
yeah,
outside of my realm.
yeah. I just put it up because somebody asked about it, so it's just something I just
Yeah,
reference.
I mean, somebody got to answer them. I can't, because I
Yeah,
mean, I don't entertain it, and I don't entertain Kemet. I don't entertain Mystic, and I just don't entertain it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I let others. I mean, I'm not going to get into others' world. If that's what they want to do, fine for them. But I don't do it. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. I
And
understand.
I guess, and if maybe you found a connection somewhere where, or a reason to even want to even know about it. I haven't found a
Yeah,
reason to want to even know about it.
yeah, I did.
you know. And it's kind of like, I don't want to be condescending because it could be out of my ignorance, you know what I'm saying? But I don't see nothing in it. It's like a waste of energy, time, and space for me. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? It's like,
I mean
I could be
everybody.
doing something else.
Yeah, I mean everybody got their own interests.
Yeah. But I guess other people, maybe some people have interest in it. Maybe some people see the light in it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Maybe some people study it because they see darkness in it and they want to pull people out of light. I have no clue. I just don't see nothing in it at all.
yeah,
A dead language, yeah, a dead society. All of that when you come to Kemet, just history. If you see,
yeah,
I see it like if you're looking at Kemet for anything outside of history, you're wasting your time. And I kind of feel like that. Like then when you look like with stuff like mysticism and stuff like that, to me that stuff is just not real. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like I said, when I read Anacalypsis, they're trying to say that the Jews came from India and all this kind of crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? And stuff that I mean, they say that you can get this stuff off. I guess people have been trying to say that this stuff is on Egyptian pyramids and stuff, but I don't believe
yeah. I mean,
it.
it's
I
just,
just
I
don't
mean,
believe it.
I think that's what, yeah, basically that's what, I mean, that's what the presentation basically was saying. It's made up. I mean, this is a made up thing.
Yeah, and that's what I got out of it. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
because that's what I get out of it when people get to talking about it, it's hard to keep my attention. Like say for instance, like when y'all was talking about it earlier, you was asking me questions, my mind drifted off and I was somewhere else.
yeah.
And I don't be wanting. That's why I be telling y'all like, don't ask me no questions or this or that, because it's a good chance that I may
I
not
mean,
even.
I ain't never asked you a question. I just asked you, did you like the presentation? Like,
Yeah, no, I'm just saying for people not to ask me a
oh, you talking
question.
about when they asked you
I
about
may not be paying attention.
oh, you talking about when April asked you the question
Yeah,
earlier?
yeah, or even you or Eric or not Eric, you or Tori, like when he was on here, or when I get these brothers opinions, I may be gone, I may be in there dealing with my mother, I may be hell, I may just be daydreaming or something. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's talking about something that I'm not really into, it's going to be hard to keep my attention. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? And it's not fair to me to ask me a question and then I'm not paying no attention. Then I got to come back on here. Oh, yeah, man, I wasn't paying attention. No, I was over there doing this and that. And it makes me look dumb. It makes me look bad. It makes me look like, but I don't like stuff like that. I don't bring that on here for me. I bring that on here for people like April, right?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? For people like Jay, who argues that kind of stuff. I bring it on here for. I'm not selfish. I can understand something ain't good for me, but I'll let you have it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. I'm not into nothing like that at all. And if it was up to me, it would. I mean, if I had to do it, it would never come off on my show because I don't do it. But if
yeah,
you into it and these people into it and you know something about it, I'll allow y'all to teach upon it, but I don't know nothing about it, and I don't. There's nothing for me to say about it. It's like I think it's just a waste of energy.
yeah,
I think it's something that people feel like they gotta have a Bible mate. In order to believe in God, I gotta add something else to it because what we got right here is just not good enough or not complete. You know,
yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's just people. I mean, everybody is individual. Everybody is different in this world, so it's not like everybody's
yeah.
not gonna have the same concept or interest. So
like
that's
like
why.
like say for like say for instance with Christianity, for instance, there was something there that attracted me. Out, outside of the scriptures, the words, the books, somewhere down the line, somebody taught me how to seek benefit out of this. If it was, I remember one day, like I was in church years ago, and it may not have been real, right? So this may be a trick that the pastor was playing on people, or whatever. But the one day the pastors got up to preach, and he say, the Lord told me to tell everyone in here and before you leave to come and shake my hand. And if you was to shake my hand, the Lord said that He was going to bless you before the week is out.
Yeah,
Right now, I remember that happened. You know what I'm saying? And so I got up and went and preached shake the preacher's hand. So at the end, before the week was over with, we ended up going to a place where we went go kart racing. At that time in the early '80s, black people wasn't doing stuff like that. So I felt like God blessed me because I touched the preacher's hand.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? What I'm trying to say is that somewhere down the line, the Christian religion made me see a benefit, even if it wasn't a benefit at all.
yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
and,
that
and
was said. The teaching I do is beneficial as far as just it's telling the truth. It's like I said, like I was showing JJ, like he doesn't like mysticism, but I'm showing him that what he believes is mysticism. But what he's being taught by other people is that mysticism. See, that was just my purpose of letting him, like Christianity is mysticism, because anything that believes is in divine or afterlife or anything like that is part of mysticism. That's why I was saying, I don't know if you heard what I told him. I said what you teach is old, is real ancient Israelite. With anybody else that believes in like the afterlife, like I said before, like I believe is part of the mysticism. And so when people act like they don't like mysticism, you actually do like mysticism. You just don't like the people who's teaching it in the wrong way. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I was just trying to. That's why I try to show people is like, and that's why I say it comes from just being ignorant to that. See, you don't have to know about Israel because you don't really care because you're not mystic. You don't believe in certain angels and afterlife. You don't teach that. So
yeah, and that's what maybe when I was in the Christianity, you know
yeah,
what I'm saying, you would have had a better chance at getting my attention because I'm looking for the spook in that religion. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
I'm looking for all of this, but at my school of thought now, I'm content and I'm
yeah.
happy.
But it actually is actually just proving your side of the field. I mean, that's
Yeah,
basically what it's doing. It's actually proving
a
that
lot of people.
when a person say they don't like mysticism, if you're a Christian Israelite, or anything like that, you're basically a mystic.
It may be so, but if I don't need it, I don't need it. It's like say for I remember when I first came into the Israelite movement, right? I
Yeah,
came in from a historical, linguistic, biblical perspective, but there was other Israelites in the same school constantly talking about chakras and
yeah,
all
yeah,
this all this other stuff, and I'm like, why is it that everybody in here got some kind of pagan connection with
yeah. It's
this
a
with
mystic.
this with this Israelite shit? You know
Yeah,
what I
it's
mean?
mystic.
I mean because there is the word chakra ain't nowhere in the Bible, so
No,
it
that's
shouldn't be.
Hindu. That's Hinduism.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be added to Israelite philosophy or Israelite
Yeah,
school of thought. But these people kept doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it, and to me, I just didn't like it. I
yeah.
just did. So I never. Like I said, it was just
See,
crazy.
that's why I said. That's why I said I break it down so people can put it in perspective in the place it's supposed to be at. You see what I'm saying? Because when people hear mysticism, the first thing they're doing is talking about magic. And I was telling JJ, it's not magic, it's actually what you teach. So, but when you're talking about that occultism and magic, that's a whole different thing that they created in modern time. That's not an ancient mystic teaching. That's a new thing. Like you said, they made it up. So when
Yeah,
Lex
I
told me
think.
he's a Christian mystic, you could tell he don't teach mysticism.
Yeah, I think that what I would be into would be considered esoteric,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and that stuff with the demons, afterlife, all that shit.
Yeah.
That's mystic.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to show the difference in them because they'll try to make esoteric mysticism. They'll try to put all that stuff together when it's not the same.
Yeah, I know what it means. Now, I would say I'm an esoteric, but I will say I'm only really. Honestly, I would say I'm just a real regular Israelite. But a real
Yeah,
regular Israelite would be an esoteric because of
it's because esoteric mean you know the truth behind, like you said, you know the secret behind it. But
yeah.
it's like see, that's what I'm saying. But you see how people use it in a form that they don't know, understand it. That's why I speak on. That's why somebody like me would just teach on it, because I want to know. Don't just keep saying esoteric when you don't really know what it means, that you're trying to use it in a negative form when it's not.
Well, it could be in a negative form because esoteric just means hidden. It depends
Yeah,
on who hid it, who hid the information. If a satanic motherfucker got satanic codes in there,
yeah,
you
yeah. I
know,
mean, but that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, if when somebody says somebody like use esoteric, they try to use it in a bad form. It doesn't mean you just don't. It doesn't. They're you. What I'm saying, they're using it as is if some type of group of people. Like
I
when they
mean,
say
but
like they saying a Christian, esoteric is not a group of people.
I'm
It could
saying
be
that,
it could be a Satanist, it could be a Mason, it could be an Israelite. You
yeah,
know what
that's
I'm
what I'm
saying?
saying. It could be anybody. What I'm
Yeah,
saying that it could be okay. I'm saying that let's say like what Lex was doing. Lex, when he kept talking about it's a code, it's this and that. Basically, he telling you it's esoteric.
yeah, but he's teaching from a fake mystic way. He's not a masonry way. He's not teaching from it. It's
Yeah.
esoteric, but what I'm saying is people are trying to use it as if it's one
See,
people.
what I'm saying it could be esoteric. It could be hidden. It could be hidden by him.
Yeah, yeah. But no,
You
I
know what
understand what you're saying. But with the problem, what I'm trying to say is when somebody uses, say, "Oh, you esoteric," they're saying that they're trying to say it as somebody saying you're a Christian, as somebody saying you are a Muslim. That's not. It's not. It shouldn't be used in that form, because you can be an Israelite esoteric and you can have a Satan esoteric. Y'all don't have the same esotericism, so you're not under the same thing. So I'm saying I'm against people that try to use it as like it's some type of religion that everybody has a doctrine under when it's not.
You know, when you see it as a secret or a hidden knowledge, who hid this knowledge?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Who hid it? You know, like say for instance, William. They say that William Shakespeare name is in the Bible. Well, that's an esoteric knowledge. Who put his name in the fucking Bible?
yeah. I mean, I heard it before. I've never seen it, but
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it in there, but I mean, the point is that who did it?
yeah,
You see, if it's hidden, who hid it?
yeah. I mean, but even when like people break down Daniel, they're breaking it down as an esoteric form because it's not a. They're not. He's not really talking about a human being. So they're taking his feet and saying this nation. They're
I'm
taking this.
saying, but if
You know what
there's
I'm
a
saying?
hidden knowledge, somebody hid it. Like,
Yeah,
say for instance, when I say again, like angels, messengers are humans, right? If I
yeah,
say Satan is an adversary, these are all humanistic beings, right?
yeah,
Humanoids. If
yeah,
I say that and you can't grasp it, and I'm telling you, well, it's been hidden, and you say who hid it, then I'm going to say the fucking Christian church.
yeah,
They hid it. They hid it in their. They shrouded it in their mistranslations.
yeah. I agree with that. I mean, that's why I say mysticism comes from. It's actually because, like I said, most people don't really know Kemet knowledge. They actually, and a lot of that shit is really Greek knowledge that comes from Kemet. But most people don't know the ancient Talmud knowledge. Most people don't know that.
Yeah,
So
most people.
a
Most
lot of that
people.
shit when they talk about Kemet, they talk about the Greek version of it.
Yeah, you know, I don't believe. I don't believe. I believe out of all the millions and trillions and billions of people on this earth, maybe I wouldn't say 10 people understand that shit that's going on in the ancient Kemet.
I agree. I agree. What time your store close? I mean, I don't want you to miss it. No.
And they close at 12 tonight.
Oh, okay.
And so it's going on. It's about going on 11 now, ain't it?
Yeah, yeah. And see, that's why, because like when JJ was reading it, you see how he was reading it, trying to use it as a bad thing to science Lex. But then when he started reading it, you start seeing it's similar to what JJ believes. That was Lex Vortex believes, and that's why I was trying to get him to understand. Like, so when he's saying mysticism is like he's talking like it's a bad thing. He got to understand that he is the mysticism, and the people he's trying to say that's
It's just
mystics
like
are not mystics.
I would tell Jay just like what Ben Hamid and them followers told me. Them
Yeah,
boys was over there talking that. chakras and all of this shit and this and that. And my man told me like this. He's like, look, Yasha, those guys got that. That's what they do. That's what they know. That's what they study. He said, you don't have that. You don't need that.
Yeah.
What God gave you to you, gave you. You don't need all of that.
Yeah.
What God, you found with just what the Lord gave you. You didn't need to learn about chakras and all of that shit.
Yeah, I don't learn about chakra, but that's Hinduism. That ain't even got nothing to do with pain, and that's a whole different thing.
Well, when he said that to me, that basically just let me know. Basically, I'm on the right path, and I don't have to do all of that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, everybody has their own path. Like I mean, it's just different people in the world. Is everybody's gonna have
Maybe they
their own
had to
path.
do that for their path, but I didn't have to do that for
Yeah,
for what. And when that brother told me that coming from the land of Israel, I never cared to hear that stuff.
yeah. I mean, like it's certain things I get from India. Like when they talk about the feet and how the organs inside the feet. Like I like some of that stuff. I don't like that chakra shit like that because that shit a whole different thing. But like I said, it's certain things that I can complex and I mean understand from certain different things because I just like studying. I like research. I like correcting things of people trying to make it something that is not. You know what I mean? So I don't like when people say stuff and then when you look it up, it's like that shit don't even mean that. I'm just that type of person. Even if I believe it or not, what I mean. Even if I believe in it or teach it, because a lot of stuff I put out, I don't teach it. This is not something I'm going around teaching people. It's just stuff that I gather up in information. So when it comes up, I can say, well, this is what they mean when they say this. You know what I mean? But I don't go around teaching mysticism to people because I know a lot
I
of people
mean,
ain't.
I guess it's necessary because there's people out there who might need to know what they
Yeah,
mean when they say that. I don't care what they mean when they say it. I wasn't listening to them to begin with. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But
yeah.
like I say, you
But
got
but that's why you got this platform because you can have different people come and learn stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You got
you
people
know.
come on here. That's why I like. That's why I said I would like April to come on here because I want to see what she says. She's esoteric. I want to see exactly what she understands as esoteric. Because, like I said, people use that as if that's some type of religion. When you say esoteric, that could be a broad thing. It don't mean one thing. So, what do
Yeah.
you mean when you say I'm an esoteric?
But that being that, let's get ready to shut this down. I got to get up out of here. I got to
Okay.
walk. I got to walk to this damn store. That's gonna take me every bit of about 20,
Oh,
30
you
damn
need to use
minutes.
the, you need to use the thing.
Huh?
You need to use the transportation.
No, I didn't get it yet. It comes
Oh,
Thursday.
oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I ordered it. I ordered it Thursday, and it's gonna come. It'll be. They sent me the FedEx from a place called Shippity. So
Oh, okay,
they'll be shipping it in. It should be here Thursday.
okay. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh
whatever.
man, wouldn't I be so glad, brother?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, uh,
Well, we
uh,
could.
um, hey, I'm using these feet like damn the Flintstones. Feet for
Yeah,
walking, feet for driving. Yeah,
yeah. So we can talk about something tomorrow. Let's see what we can do tomorrow. That we can be ready. I'll be ready by Tuesday.
hey, I need some. I need the numbers because I can't share. I'm in restriction. So
Okay.
yeah, my videos I can't do nothing with them until I get.
Yeah, I shared them in some groups and stuff so far. I can still share some more.
Yeah, and unless I'm making content, I'm not gonna get no numbers.
Yeah, yeah,
There's day I don't have to make videos every day because I can share them. You
yeah,
know what
yeah,
I'm saying, and I can still get some numbers. You know what I'm saying.
yeah.
But now I can't share nothing. So the only way I can get some numbers is by coming up with content. So I'm like, what out of 6 days I may be like 4 in.
Yeah, I want to talk about feminism and masculinity too because because that dude that kissed Suki, they getting on him, but she dancing on a 10-year-old boy and they trying to defend it. So I want to speak on that too, like
Yeah,
how.
you got all the chance in the world because you know uh like I say, I've been in restriction and my number when I go in my analytics, you know what I'm saying? When I look at my 24 hours, my numbers is like very, very, very low.
Okay,
Every 48 hours, I'm good for 200 to 400 views every 48 hours.
yeah,
I'm looking at my stats and I'm like, I'm only getting like 50 views in the last 48 hours. And that's because they got my
yeah.
account
I think that summer jump we could do. I think that should go jump though. Once we put
the
that summer.
summer. You mean summer?
Yeah, sooner because I already got my presentation thing. So
Yeah. But that being that, let me go ahead on, man. And it's
all right,
getting late. I know
Uh,
you got to get up in the morning.
I'm
I
off
need to.
next 2 days, so I'm chilling.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. We probably can. If we get something in tomorrow, then I don't know what time. It depends on what's going on over here.
Okay.
But yeah, I hit you up sometime around in the morning, man. But right around noonish, I guess.
All right,
And
bet.
we can set up a time.
All right.
All right, that being that, this is Yashib in Israel. Like, share, subscribe. And Eric, would you like to say anything before you close
Yeah,
out?
just said, just yeah, like, share, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed it. Watch the other videos that's on here. Like Erik the Mad Scientist, True Knowledge, YouTube. I got a lot of different stuff on that. Like I said, April. I'm trying to build with you one day. DOA, you need to come back on the show, man. You know, we always build on some good stuff. I know you got some more information. So peace out.
Hey, remember the words of April G. Crawford. She said, "There's no such thing as magic."
Yes.
Peace.